I heard that she was with
Maybe
Snoop.
maybe he did that. I'm just
Yeah.
it's just for me. It's just shocking that there's no content on that.
Well, I take Snoop at his word. He said he was the last one to see him alive. That's what he said. So I
So
don't know.
he was the last one to see him alive.
That's what he said. I mean, I didn't say that. It's not me making it up. It's him. He's given interviews where he talked about it.
No, I know this. Trust me, I know you're not saying this,
Yeah.
but look. Let's logically, common sense think about this, right?
Yeah.
Afeni decides that she's gonna pull the plug,
Yeah.
and she's gonna let Snoop be the last person to be with Pac.
Well, but that's not really how it happened. I mean, Snoop shows up and Pac's going to get better and he's going to be fine. And then he takes a turn for the worst.
So
That's how it happened.
you trying to insinuate that Snoop went in there and wrapped it tied up the
I don't,
IV or
I,
something?
no, I don't think Snoop did that. I think, you show up at a place like that, a celebrity shows up and everybody goes one way to be with the celebrity and that leaves Tupac alone by himself and he takes a turn for the worst and he has 3 cardiac arrests and Afeni goes in and says, "Hey, let's pull the plug." I mean, it could have happened. And I can tell you this, no doctor with the litigious society of doctors and lawyers and celebrities is going to come out and say Tupac is expected to live unless Tupac was really expected to live. They were making
I think
plans
I
for
heard. I think
his
I heard more
rehabilitation.
that too.
Yeah, they were making plans for his rehabilitation in Arizona. They were getting ready to move him, transport him, get him into rehabilitation because they really thought that Tupac was going to live. But he didn't. I mean, clearly. So, there's a credible, there's a credible possibility that Tupac was murdered in the hospital. And what would it have taken? I've talked to numerous emergency room doctors, and I don't want to get into the circumstances, but recently I was in ICU for 6 days. Not me personally, but for somebody that was close to me, and I talked to all those doctors and nurses. It would be so easy to put something into somebody's IV and murder them. I mean, a drop of anything would go in there, and that'd be that. And they rushed him. When Tupac died, there was a hearse idling in the hospital warehouse, all ready to receive the body before the cardiac arrests. That got then hustled right over to do a quick autopsy, and then they did an almost immediate cremation, which is almost never done. But you can get anything in Vegas because it's about money. So I personally believe he was murdered in the hospital and they were expecting it. They knew it was going to happen. Billy Garland says four police showed up with Snoop. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Well, I mean, if he said it, I ain't gonna doubt it because if he's seen it, man, you know what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm just shocked that I've never seen any content. You
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and things, it's not like everybody had a cell phone back then, but they did have camcorders for sure. And
know,
who might actually have that would be Gobi. Gobi might have that because Gobi, I
It's,
think, was at the hospital.
it's a lot of stuff online. If you go on YouTube
Yeah.
and you put up the hospital of Tupac, you'll see the Outlaws, you'll see Suge, you'll
Yeah, I
see
saw Suge.
you see a Feeny being rushed to the car.
But
It's so much stuff.
what's interesting about that too is you got Frank Alexander, who feels badly about what's happened to Tupac, and
Mhm.
he does not want to leave Tupac. And his pager starts blowing up about an hour before Tupac dies in the hospital, and it's Reggie saying, "You got to get over here to Suge's right now." And so Frank Alexander drops everything, goes over to Suge's house, and he gets sat in a seat where he's being sweated by Suge, by Reggie, by Buntree, and the whole group is there. David Kenner's there, and they're sweating Frank Alexander. And then the call comes in, and it said that Tupac has just passed. Suge grabs his phone and slams it down and breaks the table. It's a glass table, and says, "What are we going to do now? He's dead. It doesn't matter." And Reggie then instructs Frank to flee Las Vegas so he doesn't get murdered. And then they call and try and get him to come out to Lake Mead. And he's not going to go out to Lake Mead
Yeah,
with
so he
these
throwing
guys.
his ass off the boat and it was an accident.
So wait a minute. Why did we have to get Frank Alexander away from Tupac? Why is there a hearse idling in the warehouse ready to transport the body? And why is there a photo that's leaked of this rushed autopsy that happens? Why is the autopsy that we have, why is it so rife with disinformation about his weight, his all that stuff that's on there is wrong about his autopsy.
Why was Reggie more worried about the club than
The,
the
yeah,
the
the
artist?
two greatest, the greatest record producer that ever lived and the greatest
And then
rap star.
you take Michael Moore, you put him on the cash register, and he
Yeah.
just was in Milan and New York with
Oh
Tupac.
yeah.
Now you want him to watch the cash register?
Oh yeah. And
Come on,
you
man.
got to keep him close to you because he's got a gun.
Yeah,
We got to collect the guns. The guns can't be there because we don't want somebody getting shot up. And that's part of probably, what he had to promise the powers that be in Vegas. You don't get to shoot somebody on the strip unless you got a permission to shoot them on the strip. I mean, Vegas is a controlled place. Suge said it. There's cameras on every street corner in Vegas.
right.
Where's that video? How come that video is not being subpoenaed by the defense? How come the video of Orlando, because they had cleared Orlando as a suspect, is not being subpoenaed by the defense?
Right.
Because they don't really want to do a trial. You know how it works with the trial attorneys? Okay, you're going to do this thing, you're going to throw this case, and we're going to take care of you down the road. They do case trading. And so I don't think he has effective counsel. He's got bad advisors. Who knows who the advisors are? Who knows who this investigator is? But there were cameras, and that video was collected. And Russell Poole told me, hey, they had video on Orlando. They knew he was not the shooter. They
Right.
knew it.
Yeah.
And so if Orlando's not the shooter, then you got to let Keefe D go. I mean, I handed the gun to Orlando. And I talked to people in Compton. I said, "Hey, I read the book, and it was like Cases of Cristal, Cases of Dom Perry." I said, "Come on, this guy's total fucking bullshit." No. What do you mean? I said, "Cases of Cristal. I mean, Dom
That's
Perry.
easy.
It's like $280 a bottle now. I mean,
So
200,
back then that wasn't nothing.
but cases." And they said, no, man, he rolled with this kind of money. He was a big time drug dealer.
Bro. Man, listen, in the 80s and the 90s, the money that was flowing through our neighborhoods, you wouldn't believe it, bro.
Well, and guess what? Here we are this many years later, right? And how much time did Keefe D really do? He did some time, but for the amount of drug trafficking that guy did, he almost did no time. So he must have been part of the in crowd.
That's because he was an informant.
Yeah, and he worked with Reggie. And at some point, that relationship went sour, and then Reggie tried to hem him up in this case.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Reggie's undoing, is being hemmed up. And you know what? What does Keefe D know about Reggie? What could he, he's on trial for his life. There's statute of limitations on all that drug trafficking, money laundering stuff. So Reggie can't be hemmed up with that.
Right.
But Keefe D could just say, hey, this is who he was. My girlfriend became his wife, all that crazy stuff that we hear about this, and all those crazy murders that happened in the aftermath. And they all kind of point in some ways to Reggie. And it's like rumors. Vince Buchanan gets picked up right at Piru and Central. Do you think somebody gets picked up in daylight at Piru and Central and you don't know who picked them up? I mean, daylight, Piru and Central. Those neighbors are looking out the window. They got, they got the alarm system, the Doberman Pinscher and Rottweiler and what have you alarm systems. You
Right.
know, they're going to be looking out. They're going to see, oh, it's the cops, and they're picking up Vince Buchanan, and he's found at the cemetery. You got Buntry, and you get Chuck Phillips to play with the timeline.
But then isn't that the same guy that they found Reggie handcuffs on him when they killed him? The guy
Yeah,
in the
that was
cemetery,
Vince Buchanan. Yeah,
allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. It's
Mm.
and look, these rumors. You
Yeah,
can't be
allegedly Reggie
rumored.
killed him, right?
You can't be rumored to be involved in Vince Buchanan, Buntry, Heron. We just go on and on and on. You can't be rumored to be involved in all these things, and not some of it's true. I mean,
Right.
Bobby Finch. He was rumored to be involved in Bobby Finch. The Kevin Hackey, when he's doing his interview with Fred Miller and Russell Poole, he says 1 or 2 minutes after he's on the phone with Reggie saying, "Hey, Bobby Finch just got smoked." He goes, "Oh, Kevin, I already know about that."
Yeah, don't
He goes,
tell Suge.
yeah, he says, "Don't tell Suge." How do
Yep.
you know about that? How do you know about that? He goes, "Yeah, man, I already know about that. Word travels fast." He goes, "I just heard about it from the dispatcher." And so Kevin Hackey and Reggie are talking about Bobby Finch in the past tense a minute or two after, but Bobby Finch isn't dead. He lives for 45 minutes. It's right across from Compton College. If you've ever been there on Mayo Street at the Southside Crip area, it's right there. They had a unit that was an ambulance that came over and they worked on Bobby Finch almost immediately. They were there a minute after he got shot. So the dispatcher calls Kevin Hackey and says, "Hey, this happened." He calls Reggie and they're working on Bobby Finch. They think they can save him. They're 15, 20 minutes sitting there working on him, getting him on the stretcher, getting him into the ambulance, taking him over to MLK Hospital, and they are working on him and they think they can actually revive him. And they start to lose him and they crack his chest, open up and massage his heart because they think they can get him back and they lose him. So for 45 minutes at least, Bobby Finch is alive. Well, Kevin and Reggie are talking about how Bobby Finch has been smoked. He's dead. I mean, and if you ask me, I look at it like this. You got this total fuck up that happens in Vegas. Now, if you're trying to get Reggie right to carry out something, you've got serious questions of whether he has the talent to carry it out. Well, Bobby Finch happens 4 days later, proving that they can carry out a hit. And that experience modification carries over into the Biggie murder. And now you have a tight pattern, professional shooter. They slip away into the night and they get away with it. I mean, basically,
Same
that's
way.
what it is. And you got Rafael Perez over there kicking the shell casing. He's in his uniform. He's on duty that night. That's stipulated to in the Wallace civil trial files, which and anybody that's out there that wants to do this probably could go down and do this right now. You can go down to the federal court. You can order up all the Biggie Smalls case files. It's 2 pallets of stuff. And you can sit there with a scanner downstairs at the courthouse and you can scan every document in because that's exactly what I did. I did that exact thing. Cost me $2,000 to do it, but I have all the Wallace civil trial documents, and all of you all could get them too. Don Sikorsky said he was going to release them. That never happened.